right, so usually what I like to do to begin is I just want us to sit and take in a couple deep breaths. You know, there's a lot going on today, right? It's just so much. We're so overly energized, right? So just take a moment, close your eyes. And I'm sure you've been doing this today as well. But just take the moment and close your eyes and just watch your breath. You know, use your imagination like you can see it. It's there. The air that you breathe, you just don't really see it with your eyes. But watch it come in through your nose. Hold it a moment and exhale out. And just do that very comfortably for just a moment or two. And just get yourself here. Good. Very good. So welcome. And thank you for being here today and for being inquisitive. Thank you so much. This is very important as we grow in our consciousness. So I appreciate you being here. I have a joke to start with. So a photon is checking into a hotel. And the bellhop asks, "Do you need help with your luggage?" And the reply was, "No thanks, I'm traveling light." I love it. I don't tell jokes, I'm not great at it, but I love that joke. I mean, it cracks me every time. So my name is Laurie Wheeler. My company is Wellness Within, and I named it long ago because for me, it is all about in and what's going on the inside. And it's the state of wellness, and that's expansive. So I've been in my work for now over 30 years. I've lost track. And I have always worked in energy and light. I have always felt connected to more than what we see. And I work in energy and light, energy medicine. I'm a homeopath of 30 years. I work in soul regression, past life and between lives soul regression. I'm a medical intuit. I work in light language and galactic codes from the star beings, and multi-other aspects, but I won't get into those. And they align us to our blueprint. All of it does, in just one way or another, varying ways. And it's about knowing our divine magnificence and experiencing more of ourselves. You know, every time we get sick or every time, and I'm going to tell you, I am under the weather. I have been really working to get rid of this, but it's just hanging on for dear life. So if I'm a little foggy-brained or I stop mid-sentence, say, what was I going to say? It's the cloudy head talking. But it's about connecting ourselves to really know who we are. And I'm going to talk about that today because I think that's so important. But how I got started, I just want to let you a little bit know about me and why I stand here today. I've been channeling since I was 5 years old. I'm sure I was more earlier, but I have a recollection of 5 years old. And I began channeling Yeshua. And the reason is because I have a close connection with him. And I can remember I was raised Catholic, and my mom would take me to church, and I would literally talk to him. And people, you know, would look at me and they'd be like, and my mom would say, shh, shh, don't talk so loud. But he's talking to me, you know. And that was a good thing, but I guess they didn't think around me. And then I've kind of always followed my path, although I did some exploring. I got married to my first husband very early in life. And I had a vision before I had my children. And I had a vision of a baby basket with 4 heads in it. The first one had a pink bonnet. There were 2 others that did not. And then a blanket and a 4th head. And sure enough, I had 3 children in 3.5 years. The first was a girl, 2 were a boy. There was a little space in time, and another boy. So, you know, not that I planned it that way, it just happened, right? But I've always been given visions for my life, always, things that are going to happen. Sometimes I'll just wake up and I know what's going to happen in the world, or to people that I know, or however it may come to me. So in my early 30s, we were building a house in New York State outside of Woodstock, and the Woodstock, you know, and we had toxic water. We had a well, and we had very toxic water, and it made my whole family very, very sick. And I actually lost my memory, and I don't know if that means anything to anybody, you know. As we age, we are losing our memories a little bit, you know. But this was like, I could not recall where to go, how to get there, or anything. I would have to draw a map to go to town. So that's pretty toxic. But there's a silver lining in this. And then on top of that, it made us very sick physically. But along with that, I had a great opening. So what happens when you lose your memory? You're kind of forced into another situation. And my situation was, I had to learn how to really rely on my intuition and connect with guidance. And it pushed me into that. And so I call it a rude awakening. It was not easy. I wasn't aware enough at the time that how to really do that. There's no instruction manual, right? I just had to do it. So nobody tells you this. And I had nobody to really ask, because way back then, and I'm not going to tell you how many years that is, but yeah, you can imagine it's a few. It just, you have to learn it. So that's what I did. And I learned about my intuitive capabilities, and I learned to meet my guides. And I actually, a real long story short, I was called on my land to lean up against a tree on the land, and I did, and I suddenly found myself bilocated to another time. And a bilocation is being in 2 places at once. And now you can imagine, like, I've never done that before. I'm like, what is this I'm experiencing? You know, I'm here, and yet I know I'm there, and I'm watching a whole other picture, and it's as real as I'm standing here. So that was a new experience, right? And so it was actually a time where there was a small war party. I lived in a Native American area called Minisink, and a Native American party came upon a larger tribe, and they had killed many in the middle of the night. And when I leaned up against the tree, I felt like I was at a funeral for hundreds of people, but I didn't know any of them. So strange, right? And then, let's just take the story to the next degree, right? All the sorrow of those people mourning their loss went right into me. And I felt in agony for all these people, and I didn't even know them, and I'm mourning all this loss, right? So now what do? You've got to learn. This is what I call a real rude awakening, right? But this is my classroom, and I don't do anything easy. That was just one of the examples. So, so I had to learn how to get through it. And that's kind of like the real short skinny of how I kind of came into this. I started to work with guidance. I don't tell many people about the different guides, but I had Native American guides. I had all kinds of guides started to come in and talk to me because probably they thought I needed some help, some guidance. Thank you. So we're all souls having different experiences at this point simultaneously. I don't know, does everybody believe there's more than this moment in time that you're standing in right now? Raise your hand. Okay, so we know there's parallel times, so lots and lots and lots. They could, fill this entire hotel, right, and beyond. And all of it is a network of information that's going on in the cosmic matrix web. And we're a part of this. It's holding every thought, feeling, experience. Everything gets imprinted into it. And there's response to it. And it doesn't, the energy doesn't distinguish. It's not like something saying, well, this is this and this is this. There's no distinguishing. It's just imprinted there, okay? So what do you do with all of that? It consists of vibrational bands of frequency, vibrating strings of energy, each having their own unique frequencies, patterns, waves, sacred geometry, and they're all filled with wisdom and information. And there's divine intelligence, and it's a consciousness in all of its manifestations, and it shapes our reality, everything that's in there. And I'm sure everybody is feeling the shaping of reality going on right now, right? Who is? Yeah. Who's feeling it's challenging right now? Oh, come on. Be honest. It's okay. It's okay to tell the energy, this is challenging. You know, it's not all, you know, because it isn't. Sometimes it is difficult, and the difficult challenges are there for teaching lessons, right? And I wrote a book, Oh No, Not Another Learning Experience, for that reason, because it is, it's all learning, right? So in nature, we find these different patterns and sacred geometry and such like in the Fibonacci sequence, the spirals of the snail's shell, hexagon of the honeycomb. It's even in our molecules and so on down the line to what's unseen completely. And ancient civilizations are founded upon it. I just came back from Egypt, brought a retreat there in November. And the pyramids, the sacred doorways, portals, it all holds this. And our DNA is like an antenna. It is an antenna, it's not even like it. And it's a dimensional portal. And within it, there is specific movement. We don't start to think about our DNA moving, but it does. It moves. It expands and contracts. It flows and moves. And it's in a constant motion, and it's in a constant, because we're electromagnetic, receiving and sending out, transmitting, okay? And it holds vital information. It carries all of our personal information, and it contains, obviously, our divine blueprint. And it opens us into an expansion of consciousness, or that's what we want it to do. It creates an energetic revitalization of our soul. So we're learning right now, this is a heavy-duty time, of how to work with this. This time we're in right now is very important because this is just what it's doing. We're coming into really understanding more about energy. It's like on steroids right now. It's just moving so fast, and we're learning so much, and so much is just expanding and opening up right now for us. And people that you would never think would come into this and have curiosity and want to know more are just coming into it. And you're saying, wow, how exciting. How many know somebody like that? Yeah, this is great. And hopefully family members too. So how we work with this? Well, we're having a lot of help, the interdimensionals, guides, teachers, masters, and source. They're all there helping us. And so the bands of frequency in electromagnetic spectrum in your DNA is all coded information. All energy is coded information. Even though you don't see the codes, they are there. And your energy field is created by your DNA. So what is happening within it? Like I said, your DNA is an antenna. It's a receiver and a transmitter. And I consider myself a transceiver. Not only do I transmit and receive energy, but I translate it as well. So people will hand me things to hold, and I can tell you what it speaks about. I could put my hands on almost anything and tell you what is coming from that energy and information. I have up here 3 different explanations of 3 different words that you're going to probably hear a lot of, very heavily used this weekend. And so I just wanted to have everybody to have clarity about what those words really mean. We use them kind of interchangeably, but I want you to understand what they really are, because that really matters. Because again, don't forget, in the matrix, everything is imprinted. So what you put out, the energy does not decipher what to do with it. It's there. That's it. Okay. So, for a few years, I've been working with a quantum biologist, Dr. Glenn Ryan, and he's actually here this weekend, but he didn't get to come into the talk today, or I would have introduced him. And I've been working in research science of subtle energies with what and how DNA and water are affected by electrical conductivity. So we are electromagnetic, and it's all about the electrical flow that runs through us. And so one of the experiments, or many of the experiments, I transmit energy of the interdimensionals, masters, guides, light, numerous resources, and we see how electrical conductivity of DNA changes. Now, everything we've done is now quantified, and it's been written up and presented actually amongst scientists. And the DNA begins to change shape when the conductivity of DNA changes, okay? It changes the shape. It goes from the 2-strand into a toroidal, that donut shape, okay? All right, and it begins to literally self-repair, and healing takes place. And it's all guided through intention, okay? So again, whatever gets imprinted, that's the intention, so to speak, okay? So it's to our advantage to raise the electrical conductivity. We are light. And I love this thought because this is a great visual. And I say this to many people because sometimes we just don't know how to think about light, right? A ball of light. But there's other ways to think about it, that we are light, right? So I don't know if anybody knows the movie, and I'm dating myself, Cocoon. And one of the movies, they're in the swimming pool, and I think it's Steve Guttenberg. He's having a little interest with the gal that's in the pool, but she's an extraterrestrial, right? So he wants to get a little thing going on. So she says, okay, you want to get a thing going on, right? So she starts to unzip her skin, okay? Well, your skin is your DNA, okay? It carries everything, right? She unzips it. She pulls it off of her like it's a whole bodysuit, right? And out comes this light being. And I thought, oh my gosh, they're so onto it, because that's exactly it. So when you think about light and you being the light being, think about that. That's it. You're just housed in this. This is carrying memories, okay, but you are this light. And that, I don't know, that excites me. Who gets excited about that? Yeah, okay, great. I love it, I love it. Okay, so we actually absorb light as well, and we also emit it. It's called fluorescing. Sea creatures do it, and there are other creatures that do it as well. I think there's little furry animals, and they do it through their fur, and there's numerous animals. Light communicates with our cell's biology called biophotonics, and I think you've probably heard some of that if you've walked in the big room here. Each aspect of light has specific frequencies associated with it, which defines the type of light particle it is. And when light changes this type, it's called energy conversion. And I'm sure that that's something you could be a little familiar with. It has to do with our type of healing as well. So I know this from working in these experiments, working with light language, working with the galactic star codes. So light, sound, heat, they're all forms of energy and a type of electromagnetic radiation. Now, these experiments we've done, we collect the data. So what happens is Glenn has checked before, and then we do the experiment, and then he checks after. So we have a way to gauge the different data. And it's after the transmission. And some of the resources that I've transmitted, Mary Magdalene being one, I work with her, the Arcturian commander Ashtar, and I'll tell you in a minute about him, the emissaries of light, my own energy, I just call in energy and light, the galactic star codes, and numerous others. And the galactic star codes I work with, they're just incredible. And I don't even know how to describe them. They blow my mind every time I work with them. They come from 5 different star groups, and they are Pleiadian, Arcturian, Lyran, Sirius, and Andromedan. And they came together and they put together these codes that read like a manual for humankind. But they are used also as individual for each person to elicit what that person might need at that time. All of those that I just mentioned change the electrical conductivity, every single one. The results initially, each were different, coming in at different percentages of conductivity to begin with. And we checked it over 1 hour, 6 hours, 24, and so on. They were all unique. But the conclusion, 1, we realized we must activate and engage with anything. So here's an example. If you go and you put a crystal on your counter, you just leave it there. It's going to be very, very low. You must activate it. You must speak and engage with the energy, okay? This is what we found. How do I know this? Because I took the codes, we checked before, they were on a piece of paper written, right? We put a vial of DNA on it, and we left it in the sun. And we rechecked it again with data, and it only came in at 8%. That's very low. So that would be, and they're codes, right? I mean, they're galactic codes, right? So it'd be like your crystal just sitting there doing nothing. Then, when I activated them, I engaged with the light of those codes. It raised it substantially. It went from 8% up to 165%, like that. So it's about engaging, okay? Some energies raise frequencies, some decrease electrical conductivity. Both are healing. My conclusion about that is when it decreases, it's adjusting or clearing or disengaging a frequency that shouldn't be there or no longer is needed. Now, I said that the Arcturian commander, I'll tell you about him. So he actually disengaged the frequency and he actually created a new frequency, which is really cool. Never got to see that before. It was just kind of like a fun little thing. Anyway, okay. During one experiment, we were very fortunate. I was working in one side of the room. Glenn was in another on his computer. The computer, I wasn't paying attention. I was transmitting with my eyes closed. And Glenn was working on his computer. His screen went down. It turned pink, like that. This is a picture of it he took with his phone. Thankfully, he did. And suddenly, the orbs started to pulse. And I'm just going to show you. I hope. Oh, no. I had a feeling that might happen. Oh, no, it's not going to pulse. Oh. Did it pulse for a second?
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, there it is. Okay. We only got 10 seconds of it, but I was like, let's say tickled pink about it, you know? Because from there we could use that. So I'll tell you more about that. So I asked the orbs what they were transmitting, and they said They were letting us know they exist and are present, and they were tuning into our vibrations so we know that they are listening. Oh, yes. And as the light specifically of the codes are activated, they're bringing truth. Well, that's really important, you know. Who are these beings that are, you know, talking, right? I mean, you know, this is sort of real proof that these beings are really bringing truth. And they chose this particular time in research, as we were together, Glenn and I, to let us know that about this information, and this is evidence, they said, that they are in communication with us. Okay, I'm good, drop the mic. Okay, another experiment we did. We took regular tap water, H2O, transmitted the light, we checked it before, and then transmitted the light in, and I did an experiment with my energy as well. And the energy, the light, began changing the compound and started to restructure the water molecules. Now, how you're going to say, well, how do you know that? Because I see energy. So what it started to do, you know, you've got the H's and the O's, right? Okay, that's what H2O is, okay? I can see the molecular compound and structure of this, okay? And it starts moving it around and changing it, okay? And I asked, why were they doing it? And it said, so more light can be held within this structure. Wow, okay. By changing the biomolecule, it will change the function. It creates a different chemical reaction. So I'm a homeopath for 30 years. We know when we give a remedy, it changes the reaction in a person. We know when we go get some energy healing, it's changing the reaction, which can lead to regeneration. And that's what I'm working in right now. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. One way that we know about regeneration is stem cell. This goes well beyond that. Like jellyfish, squid, snakes, sea creatures, they all regenerate. You know, you cut off the tail of a snake, it can regenerate itself. Even our liver can regenerate itself. But science does not understand enough of this. They don't know yet a lot of information about this. So these experiments are about increasing the electricity of the body and how it uses it to repair. When I transmit the light, I get real warm. It's a type of thermal reaction, which is a chemical reaction. And thermal energy is required to break the chemical bonds in the molecule to rearrange them into a different form, just like I was seeing, you know, with the tap water. So the heat created is a reactant. The result is you either get a new molecule or some kind of a chemical substance. This is necessary for healing. Light converts one kind of energy into another. Why am I telling you this? Why does this matter? This is our now. This is our future. We are in a time where we are influencing and manipulating or learning to manipulate energy. We're really learning that intention drives everything. And knowing our power is very important. We are powerful beyond what we really realize. And these experiments teach us this. This is not just me. This is every human being that exists has this, because remember the unzip and step out and you are light. This is what you are. This is the reality of who you are. So one of my journeys into these codes was to Sirius. And while I'm there, I download. So I have a parallel time. This is one of the places. I zip in and out of Sirius, okay? And I downloaded information, pieces of information about how fast things can change and repair and regenerate. And it's a kind of exchange or transference within our blood, our biological system, or theirs, I'll say. And it's in their water, it's in their surroundings, it's in their whole biology. This is what they were explaining. And they don't need any tools to create that happening. It exists. This is where we're headed. This is beyond. When you have the capacity to regenerate on your own. Bioluminescent is the ability to absorb energy from electromagnetic radiation source and continue to emit light after the source has been removed. So our body fluids, like blood and urine, they contain fluorescent molecules and are made visible, but you can't see them unless you have a black light. Light communicates with our cells. It's called, like I said, biophotonics. And bioluminescence is the ability to absorb energy from an electromagnetic radiation source and continue to emit light after the source has been removed. It's a chemical reaction. Jellyfish do it, and I won't get into all that. Photoluminescence is fluorescing that occurs when a molecule absorbs a photon and then re-emits a photon at a lower energy level. This light energy uses certain wavelengths for wound healing by stimulating cell regeneration and tissue repair. You get where I'm going with this? Thank you so much. We'll take some of that. Okay. So research has been looking to understand more of these processes for well over a century now. And I think we're getting there quicker and quicker. There is a Russian scientist who placed DNA inside a quartz container and zapped it with a laser. The DNA absorbed the light, stored it up to 30 days inside a corkscrew-shaped spiral in an exact blueprint of light reflecting the DNA pattern. What's more interesting is the spiral of light stayed in the same place even after that quartz container and the DNA had been removed. Now, I don't know about you, but that does blow my mind. Who's with me? Yeah, wow. Wow. I don't know, I get super excited about this stuff. Okay, so what's the meaning of this? All right. The matrix, which is our energy field, or the energy field, is holding the light in place. And the DNA is responding to this external energy field. This energy field is exchanging information with your cells in the form of light. So remember what the orb said. This is truth that is being conveyed and activated. Love it. Okay, so these testings are consistent and conclusive, and very important conclusions. One, there's more than one form of healing happening in these experiments. Different kinds of healing. Well, we know that. There's all different kinds of healing. Some experiments deactivate, some activate. Both are different, but they're healing. We have a reorganization of molecular structure and compound, or the capacity for it, creating a chemical reaction so more light can be absorbed and held and utilized. And it carries information. Everything must be activated for the energy to be utilized. And we did the testing with the galactic codes, remember I said on the paper, activating them and not activating them. I believe we're getting closer to answers for healing and regeneration, and I'm fired up about that. Working with light through intention, knowing we have the power, knowing we are the light, using energy medicine to clear away and raise our frequencies so that we can absorb more light into our bodies through intention, and activating our 12 strands. None of these tools, I don't want to scare anybody, and I don't want to say anything against anything that's going on here, but this is what I see. None of the tools that we are using today are necessary. They're not. We have that capability. We don't know how to use it completely yet, but we have this capability, and science is growing us closer and closer. And the more people that are inquisitive, that want to know more, are going to push us to understand this. It's coming really soon. But there's certain steps that have to be taken to absorb and understand and how to use this. And right now, we're learning. Remember I said we must influence and learn how to manipulate and work with energy. And every single person does. So I have a little quick story, and then I was going to do a little meditation, but I may just do some light language. We'll see what happens, okay? So a story of a woman who was she was in her 60s. She was a nurse in a hospital. She was paralyzed in a bicycle accident. She fell over her handlebars and fell on a gravel on the road. And she became paralyzed from her neck down. And they lifted her to the hospital, and a friend of mine called, who was a friend of hers. I did not know the woman, and asked me to come into the hospital. And I said, sure. I went in. There were two people, my friend and the daughter, and the woman who had the accident. And we'll call her Judy for now. I didn't know what I was coming into, and so all I did was just begin to activate the light. And she became activated, okay? And she began, as the energy was exchanging, see, this is very important, energy exchange, must have it. As I was activating I went out of this time. I went into the time of the accident and the moment of the accident's happening, where she became paralyzed. And I asked about that. And I was told that fear came in and there was some disruption to her body. What she was experiencing is that she said, now she could not move anything from her neck down. I think she could move her finger, some fingers. She said what she was experiencing was she began to swim in water. She could see herself swimming in water. And I said, tell me about that. And she said, well, the funny thing is, I'm afraid of swimming in water. I'm afraid I'm going to drown. So it's very funny that this should show up. But what was really interesting is her arms and legs started to move. Okay. Wow, I do get choked up over it because to me, this is miraculous how things like this happen. It really is. You know, we don't know the power and what it has, honestly. And so to watch this, and as she's moving and she's loving it, and I'm seeing this, you know, and moving the energy, and it was like, and she walked out of the hospital 6 weeks later. So, you know, never think miracles can't happen. Never dispel the power of light and energy, and certainly don't dispel your power. We're all amazing. We really are. So my website is where energy and medicine meet. I've always had a foot in the door of how medicine changes things, but not the kind of traditional medicine, energy medicine. And I call everything energy medicine because it's healing. I also have spirit adventure tours, and I take people on retreats. This year we came back from Egypt in November, and we go back this October in 25. We've got some new things added, places that people don't normally go to as well, which are very intriguing. And then also mid-July, we are going to Sacred Avalon, which is Glastonbury, Tintagel, in that region there. Going to explore that, and then move up into Wales and Scotland as well. So a lot of Merlin and dragon and just mystical, magical things happening. And so, and it's an interesting thing, and this is not a pat on my back, but this is truth. When I go places, and this is how my retreat started, magic happens. And I would tell people about it, and they're like, can you take me the next time? And it just kind of gathered and started that way. And I love bringing people. I love watching how things happen for each individual. So it's just to get to be a part of that is really exciting. Okay, I'm going to stop for a minute for a question or two. I can take more questions outside, and I can take them down at 5:05 when you walk in the big room downstairs. I'm right there. You can't miss me. I'll take a question. Oh, my. Okay, go ahead on the end.
you have a simple exercise for us to activate light, to recalibrate, regenerate?
Right there. That's what you say. You find your mantra, okay? It doesn't have to be a complex thing. It's just simple. It's not necessary, as long as you understand what it is that you are imprinting. I desire and intend are the first words, okay? Always desire and intend. Whether you want to disengage or recalibrate. You just state what you want, okay? And then just allow. And it's going to do. It may not do it in that very second, but it will do. You will have response. But watch for it. You have to know what you're looking for as well, right? And you practice it. Because it's just like anything. The more you practice, the better you really get at anything, right? Yeah, and the more open and to trust. Really trust. And I find this is the most difficult thing that of any of the modalities we do, trust is involved in all of them. So we have to trust. We really do. I learned the hard way. Trust me. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have light codes at all on your website?
I don't have light codes. I transmit light codes. And I'm going to stop for a moment, and I'm going to transmit to all of you. Okay? So take a moment. We'll do this quick because I know we're going to run close on time. Take a minute or two extra. Okay. And I'm going to speak light language. Now, if you can believe this, some years ago, I'm channeling one day, and they're telling me that I'm going to stand up in front of a podium, and my hands are going to go up, and I'm going to transmit. And I thought, I don't know anything about that. How do I do that? What is that? What do I tell people? Do I say anything? What do I knew nothing. And they're telling me, you are, but we're telling you in advance. Okay. And then they started to activate the light language. And I'm like, okay, and you want me to stand up in front of people and talk this? Oh my gosh, nothing comes without a bit of a challenge, but it's worth it. Trust me. Okay. I'm hoping, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go over it, so we'll just meld it together, okay? Okay, I'm calling in the light beings to speak as we sit right now. Oh, chalalkina no waha I galama I toto no mahikana no fichina maha lelina no akana no. Oh, yalalanina wa oh mama nichi ka. You are all truly beautiful, beautiful souls, although you do not realize. Oh, yalai, because you are housed in the illusion of what you carry. They are sending light to you. They are speaking the truth, and they are using this time in this moment to share this with you. They want you to know that you must be aware when you absorb light, because not all energy is to be absorbed, but to be discerning of where it comes from. So they put a protection, like a bubble or a skin of light over this room. And they want you to know that even though you're not aware that this light is being absorbed, you do not need to know what it says or what it is doing at this moment. There will be a moment in time when you will be ready to open to it, and you can access it. O chinana ha ginana ba chua fina o ha fu hi yanana maha ku ola o fina ina o. They also want to let you know that not all light language is actually healing language. There are many different types of this type of information that comes through the light. Some is healing, but some is informative for your further growth. O chilana hakina o la nina o nyo fatina ahina wa nyo ofshil china ma pachila hinina bahakino o. They send you their blessings, they send you their love. And they want you to know you are receiving at this moment. And so it is, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Question? No, you have a question.
So, in addition to the intention that you told us about, what imagery would you suggest that we use to facilitate the healing, and particularly in regard to DNA?
Well, there's a lot of different imagery. Depends on what you want as a result or an outcome. You can imagine your DNA. You can imagine your Ka body, which is your ethereal body, your energy body, okay? You might have a wound or something that you want to send energy to. It's very specific. As specific as you possibly can be, that's what's important.
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
As specific as you can possibly be about where you want that energy to go.
To go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is Dr. Glenn Ryan, by the way, the gentleman I was speaking about that I've been working with. It's, thank you, Glenn. Thank you for your time and all your discoveries, and it's been a pleasure. Okay, I think we're,